Bet you didn't know they were going to bury you in that. Whew. Hope the 70s are in heaven or wherever.
Whoa, so you're dead. Now what? You're probably wondering what's coming next. You're probably wondering what's around the corner. Well, maybe I can answer some of those questions for you. Well, not me, but the Bible certainly can answer those questions for you. So why don't you come and go with me, at least for a little bit, and let's see if we can answer some of these questions. Come on, you can come on out. Yeah, good. Let me help you here. Come on, just like that. Super. All right, step up. Now listen, let's go this way. Let's go back to a room and let's talk a little bit about what it means, because it's going to be really important for you to understand some issues about death, especially since you're sort of facing it now. So let's go check this out. You may be wondering why we're going to discuss and spend some time on the topic like death. Well, one of the primary reasons is what you believe about death and what you believe about eternity will dictate the way you live. I mean, quite honestly, the atheist believes that after this life is over, you turn back to the dirt. You're going to go back to the ground and you just end. You're going to live a certain way if that's what you believe the end is going to be. Islam believes that if you live a certain way, if you do enough good deeds, that you're going to go to this place called paradise. Some people believe that you're going to go to a place called purgatory, and you could actually be prayed out of that, and you could go to a better place. Some people even believe that when you die, you're not actually even dying. In fact, you're going to be transplanted in another body. You're going to come back as a tree or a dog or whatever. You're going to come back as something else. There's a whole lot of ideas about death. And let me say this. What you believe about death dictates how you live. That's why it's a critical teaching. And let's spend just some time adventuring through this and see what God says about death, because He has a whole lot to say about death. What do we know about death? Well, there's several things that we know for certain. The first one is this, is that death is certain. 100% of all people that live so far have died, and that's just part of it. There's only one group that's going to escape death in that way, and that's those who are here when the Lord Jesus returns. Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 27, it tells us that it's appointed for man to die once, and then the judgment. So it is for certain. You won't escape it, and it doesn't matter how much you run on the treadmill or how little you weigh or how your diet is. It doesn't matter what your genetics are. It doesn't matter what your lineage is. The reality is that we're all going to die. That's part of it. So we know for sure that death is certain.
So young.
So when it comes to death, there are several things that we say that we know. We know it's certain. That's one thing. The other thing that we know for sure is that death is a reference to separation. In fact, the word in the New Testament used for death is the word thanatos, which literally means to separate. And so what happens is the body is separated from the soul. That's what death means. And so when we die, our body, our physical body, is separated from our soul. Can I borrow just for just a second? You know?
No.
Thank you. Like for instance, Mr. Potato Head here, let's say he's traveling along one day and something really bad happens to him. He's in some type of spud accident or something, and Mr. Potato Head has his potato body, but at the same time he has his potato soul. Now if Mr. Potato Head is a believer, then what happens is Mr. Potato Head's soul is separated from his body, and his soul goes to be with Jesus. See? Happy Mr. Potato Head. But let's say on the other hand, Mr. Potato Head has an accident, something bad happens, and he dies, and Mr. Potato Head, his soul is separated from his body, but then he suffers the second death, which is where his soul is separated from God. Not such a good thing. And so here's the reality. Death is separation. It is when our soul is separated from our body. That's going to happen to all of us except for those who are here when Jesus comes. Now, if you're a believer, Paul said to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. That means that when you die, your soul goes to be with God. One day, Jesus will come. He'll return with us. He'll resurrect our bodies. He'll put our soul back with our body like that, and then we'll live forever in a glorified body. If you're not a believer, though, if Mr. Potato wasn't a believer, his soul would be separated from his body, bad thing, and he would be ultimately separated from God. Death is separation. In the New Testament, most of the time for believers, death is not referred to as death, it's referred to as sleep. It says that the children of God, when we die, it's as if we are falling asleep. Now, Scott, to be honest with you, I've run out of notes at this point. Do you mind taking over here and finishing this thing off? If you would, that would be great, and I'll get you back where you need to be. We'll get you back in the coffin out there. Unfortunately, that's as far as I can take you. So.